Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel Maths Academy by Sudhir, and I'm Sudhir Desai. In this video lecture, we are going to study standard deviation for raw and ungrouped data. It carries 4 marks, and we will see one short trick to how to remember this formula. So let's see what is that short trick. Standard deviation is denoted by the letter SD. Now the short trick to remember this method is S stands for square and D stands for deviation. So here the short trick is to remember we have to take the square of deviation, and then the formula is written in the square root. So this is the short trick to remember the standard deviation. Okay, so let's see standard deviation for raw data, that is when xi observations are given. So we will prepare first a table. Suppose we have given the xis, that is the observation. So first step is to write down the given data in ascending order. Now in this case we have to calculate this deviation from mean. So first we have to calculate mean. So to find mean, I'll take the summation of all xis, sum of all observations. Then mean is calculated by the formula summation xi divided by n, that is total number of observations. Now after finding the mean, we will calculate the deviation, which is denoted by the letter di. And remember that in standard deviation is calculated from mean. That means we have to subtract mean from each observation xi. So formula for finding the deviation di is modulus of xi minus x bar. Now as the short trick, we have to take the square of deviation. After finding the di, take the square of deviation, which is di square. So here we have to take the square of each entries of di, and then no column is possible, so take the addition of last column, which is di square, and it is summation of di square. Now I will write down the formula for standard deviation SD. Standard deviation is denoted by the letter SD, or it is denoted by the letter sigma. Now as I told you how to write the formula for statistics, in the numerator write down the summation or addition of last column. What is the last column? Di square, and its addition is denoted by the letter summation di square. And in the denominator we have to write the sum of frequency. Now in this case it is n, and this whole formula is written in the square root. So SD stands for square of deviation, and then write the whole formula in the square root. So remember this trick for finding the standard deviation. Now two more terms which are very important. First one is variance. How to find the variance of any given data? It is calculated by the formula SD square, and it is denoted by the letter V. And second term is coefficient of variance. It is denoted by the letter CV, and it is calculated by the formula SD, that is standard deviation upon mean, into 100. In notation form it is written as CV is equals to sigma, which is used for SD, upon x bar, which is used for mean, into 100. Remember these two formulas, which are very important. So let's see how to find the standard deviation for raw data, that is when observations are given. So let's take this example. Find the standard deviation for following data, and you can observe that only the observations are given, and observations are denoted by the letter xi. So I will prepare a table. So what is the first step? Is to write down this given data in ascending order, smallest first and largest will be at the last. So what is the smallest value of xi? 1. So the given data is already in the ascending order, so write it as 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Now next step is to find mean, and to find mean we have to take the summation of all these observation. So take the addition of each entry. 1 plus 2 3, 3 plus 3 6, plus 4 10, plus 5 15, plus 6 21, plus 7 28, plus 8 36, and plus 9 is 45. Now we have to find the formula for mean, which is denoted by the letter x bar. In the numerator, sum of last column, which is summation xi, divided by, in the denominator, it is frequency or total number of observations. So in this case frequency is not given, so we are going to write the total number of observations, and these are 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. So total number of observations are 9. So let's write down the values. So x bar is equals to summation xi is 45 divided by total number of observations are 9. So x bar is equals to 45 upon 9 is nothing but what? 5. Students, for calculations you are supposed to use the calculator. Okay, so now next step is to find deviation. And how to find this deviation? We have to calculate this deviation from mean. Always remember that standard deviation is calculated from mean. So it is denoted by the letter di and is calculated by the formula modulus xi minus x bar. So we have to subtract x bar from each observations. So di is equals to modulus of xi minus value of x bar is 5. So let us subtract 5 from each of the observations. So first observation is 1. So 1 minus 5, it is minus 4, and because of modulus we have to write it as plus 4. Next observation is 2, subtract it from 5, so it is minus 3, and because of absolute sign it is 3. Next 3 minus 5 is minus 2, its absolute value is 2. 4 minus 5 is minus 1, its absolute value is 1. Absolute value of negative is positive. Next 5 minus 5 is 0. 6 minus 5 is 1. Absolute value of positive number is again a positive number. So 6 minus 5 is 1. 7 minus 5 is 2. 8 minus 5 is 3. And last 9 minus 5 is 4. So these are all DIs which are obtained by subtracting mean from each observation. Now as the name suggests, standard deviation SD, where S stands for square of deviation. So the next column will be DI square. Now how to take the square of DI? By taking the square of each element of this column DI. So let's find the DI square. So first DI is 4, take its square, which is 16. Next DI is 3, its square is 9. So just take the square of each element in the column DI. So 2 square is 4, 1 square is 1, 0 square is 0, 1 square is 1, 2 square is 4, 3 square is 9, and 4 square is 16. So now there is no column possible, so take the summation of this column DI square by adding every element. So 16 plus 9 25, plus 4 29, plus 1 30, plus 1 31, plus 4 35, plus 9, and in this way you can calculate it. You'll get the answer. Summation of DI square is equals to 60. Now no column is possible, so I'll write down the formula for standard deviation, which is denoted by the letter sigma, And how to find the formula for statistics? In the numerator, addition of last column, which is di square, is denoted by summation di square. And in denominator, frequency, now in this case it is n, total number of observation, and this whole formula we are supposed to write in the square root. SD means square of deviation, and write the whole formula in square root. Remember this short trick. Okay, now let's put the values only. So square root of, what is the value of summation di square? It is 60 upon value of n is 9, total number of observation, and by using calculator the value of standard deviation is 2.58. so this is how we are supposed to find the standard deviation sigma for raw data, that is when observations are given. If you are liking this video, students, please do not forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel Maths Academy by Sudhir, and for more videos please press the bell icon. Now let's see how to find the standard deviation for ungrouped data. What is the ungrouped data? When xi, that is observation, and its corresponding frequency fi is given. So let us illustrate by an example. So find standard deviation, variance and coefficient of variance. Here we have to find the three terms: standard deviation, variance and coefficient of variance for the data. You can observe we have given weekly expenditure in one row and number of students in second row. So here weekly expenditure is nothing but the observations xi, and number of students is nothing but the frequency fi. So let's prepare a table. First column is xi, which is nothing but weekly expenditures. What are they? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Second column is of number of students, which is denoted by the letter fi, and these are 6, 16, 20, 38, 46. Now to find standard deviation or any type of deviation, we have to calculate mean first. And to find mean, when xi and fi are given, the third column is of fi xi, that is we have to multiply fi to its corresponding xi. Now in this case, first fi is 6, which is multiplied to 5, so it is 30. Next, 16 into 10, 160. 20 into 15, 300. 38 into 20, 760. And last, 46 into 25, 1150. So to find mean, when observation and frequency is given, third column is fi xi. Okay, now no column is possible for finding the mean. What we have to do? Remember, always take the addition of the columns which contains fi in it. So there are two columns with fi, so take its addition. So summation of fi xi is equals to what? 2400. Addition of all these entries is 2400. For this you can use calculator. Now take the addition of column fi, which is denoted by the letter summation fi, and it is 126. Addition of all these elements from column fi is 126. Now let us find the formula for mean, which is denoted by the letter x bar. In the numerator, sum of last column, which is denoted by the letter summation fi xi, and in the denominator, sum of frequency, which is denoted by the letter summation fi. So let's put the values. So x bar is equals to summation fi xi 2400 divided by summation fi is 126, and by using calculator we will get mean x bar is equals to 19.05. Write your answer up to 2 decimal places. Okay, so first part is complete. To find deviation, we have already calculated mean. Now let us find the deviation, which is denoted by the letter di, and it is calculated by the formula. Here we have to take this deviation from mean, so we have to subtract mean x bar from each observation xi. So di is equals to xi minus value of x bar is 19.05. So first xi is 5. When it is subtracted from 19.05, the answer is 5 minus 19.05 is 14.05. It is minus, but because of absolute value it will become plus, as we all know that. Or directly you can put the value in calculator using the ABS button in the scientific calculator. ABS is nothing but the absolute value. Okay, next observation is 10 minus 19.05 is 9.05. Next observation is 15 minus 19.05. It is 4.05. Next is 20 minus 19.05. It is nothing but 0.95. And last, 25 minus 19.05. It is nothing but 5.95. Students use calculator for these calculations. Okay, we have calculated di, deviation. Now this is a standard deviation. So what is this short trick? S stands for square of deviation, di. So next column will be of di square. Okay, so we have to take the square of each element of this column di. So first element is 14.05. Take its square. Now you need the calculator for these calculations. So square of 14.05 is 197.40. Next, di is 9.05. Its square is 81.90. Square of 4.05 is 16.40. Square of 0.95 is 0.90. And square of 5.95 is 35.40. And now the last column is to multiply this frequency to this di square. So last column to find the standard deviation for ungrouped data is fi into di square. So carefully multiply fi 6 to its corresponding di square, which is 197.40. And the answer is 1184.4. You have to use calculator. Next fi is 16 into di square is 81.90, which is 1310.4. 20 into its corresponding di square is 16.40, 328. 38 into 0.90 is 34.2. 46 into 35.40 is 1628.4. Now no column is possible. So let's take the addition of the column which contains fi. Here already we have taken the addition. So the only column which is having frequency is fi di square, whose addition we are supposed to take. So sum of fi di square is adding the each element of this column, then you will get the answer 4485.4 using calculator. Okay, so all the columns are calculated. Now let's find the formula for standard deviation denoted by sigma for ungrouped data. What is the short trick? In the numerator, write down the sum of last column, which is summation fi di square. In the denominator, write the sum of frequency, which is summation fi, and write this whole formula in square root. SD means square of deviation, and write the whole formula in square root. Okay, let's put the values. SD is equals to sigma is equals to, what is the sum of fi di square? 4485.4 divided by sum of fi is 126 in the square. Do not forget to take the square root of this values. So standard deviation will be 5.9. 5.96. In this example, we are also calculate variance. So what is the formula for finding the variance? It is denoted by the letter V and calculated by the formula standard deviation its square, SD square. So put the value of SD sigma. So V is equals, so what is the value of standard deviation? It is 5.96. Its square is 35.52. So variance for this given data is 35.52. And last, coefficient of variance, which is denoted by the letter CV and calculated by the formula standard deviation SD upon mean into 100. So CV is equals to, what is the standard deviation? 5.96 upon mean is denoted by the letter X bar is 19.05 into 100. So after using calculator, the coefficient of variance CV is 31.28. So students, this is how we are supposed to find standard deviation, that is square of deviation, and whole formula is in square root. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, please subscribe to my channel Maths Academy by Sudhir.